Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Coach JC. Everyone gather around should be going today. Today's topic is pregnancy reveals a man's true character. Basically, when it comes down to when a woman says she's pregnant, whether it's a girl you was dating, one night stand, relationship with, married to, committed relationship with, when that woman says she's pregnant, that's going to tell the true character of a man. I mean, he's going to step up and be a father, or he's not. There's no in between. And that's the type of time that you gotta really think about as a man. When you get that phone call, get that text message, like, hey, you about to be a father, you gotta step it up. All aspects. Mentally, emotionally, financially, everything. You're gonna have to step it up because now it's not about you. You know what I'm saying? The world ain't about you. What you're trying to do at the moment is about that baby, and you need the best support your child's mother the best way possible. You know what I'm saying? That's why I keep telling men you gotta be cautious and be very aware when you sleep around women in general. Because you never know when a day gonna come. You might get that phone call 5, 10 years when you thought you was done with a female. She pops up 5 years, 10 years talking about you got a 7-year-old, you got an 8-year-old. You're like, man, what the hell? I ain't talked to you in 5, 6 years, but guess what? You got a son, you got a daughter by her, and you got to step up to the plate. And that's going to tell a man real true character towards you, towards the baby, towards everything. You want to be in a loving situation. When you get that call, you need to be excited, you need to be crying, you need to be in tears, you need to be overwhelmed, you need to be. You gotta be motivated. You gotta feel supported because, like I said, not everybody can have kids. A lot of people don't want kids, but when you get that call, nothing like it. For me, like I said, when I found out my wife was pregnant, I was just jumping for joy. I was nervous. It was overwhelming. It's gratitude. You see that the first. You go to the hospital, you see the diagram, the heartbeat. That's everything. I was like, that's it for me. That's all I need to know. I was like, it's time for me to go out there and put some work in, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying you put the work in like you kill yourself because you just don't want to do that. You just want to just put the work in to make sure that the baby clear. That means, hey, let's try to get a crib. Let's get the baby stroller. All this stuff is important. Hey, let's try to make sure we set a good foundation. Make sure we're praying to one another. Make sure we're in good communication because we want to bring a baby into a loving home. So, like I said, you get that phone call. Like I said, nothing like it. I talk about that in my book, Fatherhood: The Only Hood Man Should Claim. That, like I said, this is your baby, your child, your responsibility. You know what I mean? So, you gotta take care of your child the best way possible. And like I said, it's not easy. It definitely does take a village. So, like I said, takes grandparents, takes uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, all that grandparents, everything to help that child nurture and develop. But you gotta put the work in. You know what I'm saying? Days you can be stressed out, days you can be tired, but it ain't nothing like it when you're holding your baby for the first time. Ain't nothing like it. Simulation, you can't simulate that. Like I said, nothing like it. Like I said, for me, it was my wife. She was in the hospital, couldn't really do a whole lot because of COVID and stuff. But like I said, that's the one thing I did. I did all the virtual visits. Made sure I had time off to make sure spend time and connect with the baby. And I feel like that's important too. A lot of men neglect too. They want to keep working once the baby is born. They want to keep working and stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with working, but you gotta have the time with just you and that child. You gotta have a week or 2 weeks off, because nowadays you need that. Give your wife a break, your child mother a break, because the baby need that. They need that touch. They need that emotional connection from you, because they already got it from the mom. They need it from dad too. Dad's important too. You gotta do more than just sign the paperwork. You gotta be up there and really be involved and really try to figure out the clothing, figuring out how to do diapers and stuff. A lot of diapers. You gotta learn how to do formula and stuff. You gotta learn how to do all that stuff, man. Like, it ain't going nowhere. You gotta learn to do all this stuff. That's why I just like, you gotta be really patient. You go out there dating and you out there stupid around and stuff, So it's lifetime commitment once you become a father. There's no off days, there's no weekends off. I mean, you might have little breaks here and there. You may be able to take the kid over to grandparents' house, cousin's house, aunt's house, but at the end of the day, that's something you're responsible to the day that you die. And that's why I always stress about, men just being more cautious. We talk about women, few better men, this and that, but what about the men? We got to do a better job protecting our seed, protecting our legacy. You know what I'm saying? I was very cautious about who I was going to impregnate, who I want to give my seed to, my last name to. Like, I wasn't just out there, like rolling boat, just sleeping around different women. I was very cautious, very selective who I dated, who I spend my time with. So, and it worked out well. Like I said, beautiful marriage. Like I said, she's 4 years old. Just keep going. I'm really proud to see her grow, develop. Proud to see the milestones, like first day of school, walking for the first time, saying dada, mama for the first time. Everything is just, ups and downs, but like I said, it's just a joy to see, watch her each and every day. It's getting bigger. Every time I look up, she's like one size up. I'm like, I thought you was wearing 4 or 5, now you wearing 6 to 7. Like, you're getting too big, Olivia. You're getting way too big for me. But like I said, going back to the topic, Curtis is gonna reveal a man's character. He gonna be resentful. He gonna be like, "That ain't my baby," or "You take care of the baby." He's gonna tell everything about a man's character. A man don't want to take care of his pride, his joy, his brother's joy. That's on him. You don't need to beg him. You don't need to plead with him. You don't need to manipulate him. Nah, just be like, hey, it's your child. Come get the DNA test. It's yours, so you either gonna man up to the plate and be the father, or you just gonna go back down. So, and that's gonna be on something he's gonna have to live with 10, 20 years. He don't want to step up to the plate and father his child. So that's on you. Put the plate in the meal in front of him. He don't want to eat it. That's on him. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. Like I said, pregnancy reveals a man's true character. He's gonna be excited. He's gonna be angry, sad, depressed. It's a lot of emotions you can go through once you get that call. But yeah, though, that's all I really have to say until next time. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time out, Coach JC.